You don't go to the death house for selling dope or stealing cars. If you can break into the house of an 87-year-old widow woman and you can beat her and you can rape her, steal everything she's got, and because she's reluctant to give you the wedding ring that hasn't left her hand in 65 years, you put a pistol right here and blow her head off. If you can commit that kind of crime, you deserve the death penalty, and I have no problem at all executing anybody who would commit that kind of crime. And those are the people who you deal with in the death house.
We're Texas, and if you get the death penalty, well, by God, you're gonna die.
Why are you not televising it? Why are you not saying, okay, hey, look, Wednesday night, death night. We're gonna kill the guy who did this.
If you slap me, I'm gonna slap you back. You insult me, I'm gonna slap you. People all over the world talk about us. Texans aren't playing when they say don't mess with us.
And I think the court records show that there were 5 shots fired within 40 seconds. So that's one shot, what, every 8 seconds?
This story is told from the point of view of the children, which I don't really think you never hear, what about the kids?
That's killing time. It's 6 o'clock. Time for an execution.
What was your childhood like?
As far as I really remember, wonderful. I remember playing with Barbies, and my dad came to Baton Rouge and built me a Barbie house, and it was wonderful. And I mean, the only difference between me and any of my friends was that my dad lived in Dallas, and I went to see him. I mean, everything was very well hidden from me. I don't even know how I found out that he was abusive to my mom.
The judge said to me, you know, I've been a judge for 20 years. I've seen everything. I've done many, many criminal trials. I've seen many criminal people in and out of my courtroom. But I want to tell you that you need to take this very seriously, because this man is a sociopath, and you need to be afraid for your life from him, because he could very well next time be before me, and you won't be here to tell your story.
Oh, when I attacked Michelle, I wouldn't really call it attack. Went up to her while she was walking down the sidewalk, and I said, you're gonna have to learn this lesson. And I just held her by the shoulder and I popped her in the head twice. And, you know, she moved her head the wrong way and I snapped her nose.
The first blow that he hit me was in my eye. And it was like I felt my eye hit the back of my head and come forward. But then he hit my nose, which broke my nose. The bone punched through right here.
And she fell down and I just walked away. She said I struck her about 20 times, but she was unconscious before she hit the ground.
And then my jaw, which dislocated my jaw. And then I had like a big bruise here, and as I fell, he just kept hitting, and once I hit the ground, then he just started kicking.
Well, the practice she got me put in prison. she knows that the bullshit she pulled, the only way to keep from sending her front teeth flying out her asshole is to have me behind this glass. Because she's a bitch, and she deserved to have the shit knocked out of her, but you know, what the hell.
And he quit and ran and left. And I know that Ultimately, the neighbors had told the police they felt that had they not run him off, the two of them, that he'd have killed me. Now, that was just, you could see in his face the intent to kill me at that time.
And when you think about that incident, how does it make you feel?
Makes me feel like I should have killed her. She's such a pain in the ass. And she couldn't take a lesson.
I've never seen my dad dangerous a day in my life. So he never did anything to make me feel like he was a threat to society.
Tonight in Huntsville, in the execution capital of the United States, a man by the name of Colly Elvis Westbrook is going to be murdered by the Texas prison system. Elvis, if you can hear us, you should know that we are out here, we are protesting this execution, and we will be out here standing in solidarity with you until it is over.
Can you tell me what happened or why your dad ended up in prison?
My dad killed 5 people.
The death house is a prison, and it holds a couple of thousand people. Where they have protesters stand is on one corner, and catty corner all the way in the back of the prison is where they execute. I've understood from people who got last-minute stays that we can hear you on the bullhorn way back in here. So when Coy, or who goes by the name of Elvis, when Elvis is executed today, I hope he can hear us and know that his parents may have died, but there are people that care that he's being murdered.
I've never been ready for my dad to die. I kind of wish that something would have happened where he would have died on his own, like a heart attack or something else, so I wouldn't have had to endure this pain that I've went through.
Okay, so tell me what your dad was like.
He was a kind, loving father. Was my childhood happy? Mostly my childhood was with him, yes.
I understand that one of the victim's brothers is in prison. In fact, he is incarcerated at the Walls Unit. The Walls Unit is where the executions take place.
It's so crazy. I was in the law library the day they was taking him over to execute him. And I was, I was trying to see how I felt about that, because the warden called me out. He says, hey, man, we're fixing to bring this guy in here and we're going to kill him. How are you going to act? I need to know how you're going to react to this, are we going to have any problems? Well, you're already killing him. What kind of problems you're going to get from me? What am I going to do now? Kill him first?
Mr. Westbrook was actually the first client that I was appointed on when I moved to New Mexico, and that was 13 years ago. So I've been representing him for 13 years. His case is the saddest of all the 15 of these things that I've handled, because he really is intellectually disabled, or mentally retarded is the formal word for it. And even the state's experts tested him at below the IQ cutoff level with a 66 IQ. But nonetheless, it's Texas, man, and it's almost impossible. I mean, unless you're barely functional, it's impossible to get your death penalty taken away for mental retardation.
If you don't have a speech impediment and you're not winking, blinking, drooling, look like you've got Down syndrome, you don't qualify. Well, I don't qualify because I'm not winking, blinking, drooling, and I don't have Down syndrome. That doesn't mean I'm not retarded.
The psychologist that tested him was a man named Denkowski, who has been discredited and no longer allowed to testify as an expert witness in cases. He ruled that this man had an IQ of 66, which is very low. But then the district attorney told him to check it again, and then it went up because he was getting paid. So that's kind of the story of justice in Texas. Those with the money get what they want, and what's the saying? Those without the capital get the punishment.
Well, they tried to say I had a 92 IQ, and there's no way that I could have a 92 IQ because I wouldn't do any of my homework. I wouldn't do any classwork. I was a straight F student.
I mean, he insists he's mentally impaired. I interviewed him, and he came across pretty, I don't want to say intelligent, but cogent to me. I'm no psychiatrist or psychologist, so I can't make that judgment. Although I have talked to people who indeed I thought were mentally impaired, and he wasn't one of them. But then that's strictly a judgment based on interviews I've done with hundreds of inmates.
People with mental illness are executed. People whose attorneys slept in court are executed. People who have very low IQs and function like a child are executed. This is what Texas is doing with our money.
A person who is intellectually deficient, has a low IQ, makes no difference. That person knows the difference between right and wrong. There is also a difference between being insane and being a dummy. And if you have a low IQ, that's not a defense. It's not a defense in Texas for capital punishment, and I don't think it should be a defense.
Do I think I was a good father to liberty and faith? Yes, I mean, I tried to be.
Faith was a tomboy. She played soccer, didn't want to wear a dress. Now, Liberty was in a princess costume almost every day.
Oh, gosh. My fondest memory of my daughters, well, I have another daughter. She's 30 now, Christy.
All right, two.
When we used to all get together and go somewhere, it was a kind of a little bit of a three-ring circus, if you can imagine. Three highly energetic, fun little girls just having a great time. So when Mary Jean filed for divorce, I knew she was going to betray me, and that betrayal would probably lead to all of our deaths. So I went and got their names.
I mean, everything was very well hidden from me until that Christmas when he beat up Mary Jean in front of me. That I knew any part of that. I mean, he had never laid a hand on me. He rarely even yelled at me.
The parole officer actually called him and said, "We need to come get you. Another complaint's been made. You're in violation of probation. We need to come pick you up." And he said, "Well, give me one more day. Just let me have one night with my girls, and I'll turn myself in tomorrow." And somebody's kicking themselves that said, okay. The younger one, Liberty, had hidden up under the beds. She had to pull her out from under the bed to make her go to see her dad.
They had begged their mom not to make them go, and she could not defy the court order because it was a court-ordered visitation. The girl's mom was so terrified of him that she met and did the exchange of the girls, I believe, in a public parking lot.
And then delivered them to John. And they got in the car and went to the back window, and I can't imagine this as a mom. But the last thing she saw was the girls just with their face plastered up against the window, waving goodbye to her in that parking lot.
Colly Westbrook, who's about to be put to death, was divorced from his wife back in the late 1990s. Apparently their rocky relationship never really ended, even though they were divorced, and they continued to see each other. He shows up at her apartment just east of Houston in a place called Channelview, thinking that they're going to get back together again, only he finds that there's a party going on at her apartment with her roommate and 3 men who were there.
Well, it began about between 9:30 and 10, and when I walked inside the house, I asked her, I said, "What's all this?" Had no earthly idea who they were. She tried to tell me, "Well, you remember Kelly Hazlitt?" I said, "No, I don't remember." And if it was one of her friends, it was probably somebody that she'd been in bed with.
The guy was the last guy standing, you know, so whatever his story was what it was boiled down to. But, you know, nobody was there but him and the 5 people that died.
As the evidence shows in the case, or at least as Westbrook explains, she goes into a room and goes and has sex with one of the guys. Or they make fun of Westbrook, and she decides she's gonna have sex with another one of the guys. He's tired of being ridiculed. He decides he's gonna leave.
I sat there long enough to have 3 or 4 beers. I finally decided that enough was enough. I'd had enough, you know. She didn't really want me to come home, because if she had, these people wouldn't have been there. And she had already went into the bedroom with one of these guys, and I told her girlfriend, Ruthie, I said, "Well, when she comes out of there, you tell her I left." And I said, and tell her don't be calling me and don't be bothering me. And I said, because I'm done, I'm through, this is it.
My brother that he killed, he was the first member of my family that had passed away. And it tore my family up. You know what I mean? It killed everybody inside. I mean, it was like he didn't just kill my brother, he killed my entire family.
He's a man that shouldn't be executed. He obviously needs mental health care, and I don't know if he has just a low IQ or else he has mental illness, but he's got mental issues, and he should not be up there in that death house waiting for them. They're probably putting the IV in right now and getting him ready so that at 6 o'clock when the witnesses walk in, they can open the curtains and they can see him lying there and they'll kill him.
As the saying goes, why do we kill people who kill people? To show that killing people is wrong.
So when my mom told me at the beginning of January that his execution date had been set, it was more just overall sadness. I'm not going for him. I am going for me because I want to see my dad one last time. But when I finally got in there and I saw him, he was surprised to see me, but he was happy that I was there. And he told me then, like, he had always, part of him had always wished that I would never come, just so I didn't have to see him like that.
Oh, what are my feelings towards my execution day? Yeah, it's 2 weeks. Today's Wednesday, so it'll be on Wednesday the 30th. You know, it's a way to get out of here.
The thought of him being executed upsets me. For 15 years, I have prayed that he would die in prison from anything before an execution date was ever set.
Would I say I'm ready to be executed? I mean, I don't want to be, because especially now that I'm speaking to my daughter, I like that. But, I mean, as far as like mentally prepared, yeah, I mean, it's not gonna be that big deal. I mean, it's better than getting snuck up by somebody and shot in the back or killed in a car crash and, you know, chopped up the hamburger meat, or dying in some stupid son of a bitch's war in some place. So, I mean, of all the possibilities, it's not that bad. It's very clean, and they're very nice to you, considering. I mean, you could die of cancer and have some big giant growth on the side of your head or your brain being tumored. But, I mean, just you go to sleep. It's kind of nice. It's almost Snow White-ish.
And the more and more I talk to him, I mean, it's just, he has multiple mental disorders that he was at least diagnosed with during the trial. So he refuses to take any medicine in prison. And he's locked up in a cell most of the time, so I can only imagine you go a little bit crazy anyway, even if you are sane to start with.
We could use a good fascist, you know? I mean, the race does need to be sterilized every once in a while. I mean, don't be afraid of violence. It's good for you. I mean, there's three things that make our existence, right? Art, fucking, and killing. So, art, fuck, kill.
A 911 call had come in from the girl's mother stating that she had been on the phone with her daughter, Faith, and she could hear Faith go, "No, Daddy, no, 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 Daddy, don't."
And so Mary Jean, of course, is immediately thinking, John, or saying, John, why are you doing this? Why are you putting the girls in the middle of this?
Their mother had sent them to tell me that I was going to prison, and I found out that they had taken away my Second Amendment rights to own a gun.
And then the next thing she hears is the gun, the gun being fired. And so she screams into the phone, "Run, run, girls, run."
I was driving down the street, going to go back to the station to fill out an accident report. And the mother was out basically in the middle of the street flagging me down. She was all excited, and I asked her to try to calm down and tell me what the problem was. And she said, I was on the phone with my ex-husband, and he had my daughters. She said she heard her daughters say in the background, "Why are you putting Daddy in jail?" And then she heard the daughters saying, "No, Daddy, don't."
And it was obvious when I walked into the door where I could see Liberty. She had tried to run. She had heard her mom, I think, and she had tried to run to the front door.
It's weird to look back on it now because, of course, I'll always remember them as 6 and 9 years old when I was 15.
We looked everywhere we could to see if maybe he was still in the apartment, but he had evidently gone. You have to call the medical examiner and the crime scene people, and of course an ambulance, we called them, and there was nothing they could do.
When the officers they opened the door for me, Liberty was right inside the front door. It was obvious that she had probably been running towards the front door. And she basically, for lack of a better term, was gunned down. It was obvious that she had multiple gunshot wounds. She was lying in a pool of blood. Her little hair was, she had long hair, and her little hair was, it was fanned out around her head. I'll never forget that because it was in congealed blood. And her sister, Faith, she also was lying face down in a congealed pool of blood.
He had shot them both in the torso with a little pistol that he had. And then once they were down, he put a Glock 9mm to the back of their head and pulled the trigger, and that was a case of severe blood loss.
He had all of this on speakerphone, so she could hear all of it going on. And then he got on the phone or said, Merry effing Christmas, Mary Jean, to her, and then left, locked the apartment and left.
Should Elvis Westbrook be executed because of his mental disability? No. He did not fully understand what he was doing when he went to the truck and got that shotgun. He tried to get his keys to leave. They made fun of his manhood. They made fun of his ability to satisfy his wife. Therefore, she was going out on him. They threw his keys. They actually took his keys and threw them outside where he could not find them. In his mind, the only answer was to get the shotgun. In someone else's mind, you would have walked down the street, maybe.
So I pulled my deer rifle out because I carry guns with me regardless. I went back into the house, and just as soon as I went through the door, I told Ruthie, I said, look, y'all need to go on and give me my keys back. I said, you got my keys? I want my keys. I said, I'm leaving and I'm going home. And I said, just leave me alone. And she said, we're going to kill you. We're going to kill you and throw you in the back of your own truck and take you off and dump you off in a bar ditch somewhere and leave you for dead. Which typically that's Ruthie. I mean, she just runs her mouth a lot.
But I'm sure he had a flashback of being bullied in school. You're dumb, you're short, you're fat, you're ugly, you're stupid. How many insults can a human being take before they explode? All of his life, he had been bullied. All of his life, he had been made fun of. This is the one night that he exploded. Those people throwing those keys and making fun of his manhood was the breaking point for Elvis.
And he went outside and got his gun, and he thought he was just gonna scare them, but when they come back in, they started taunting him, and so he just shot the people.
Can you fault the guy for being crazy? I mean, he's got mental problems. I mean, it's not Kelly's fault. It's not the wife's fault. It's not the guy's fault. You know, the guy's got problems. You don't just go and kill 5 people, and if you're not insane. I mean, so to say that warrants killing him, if you're not in your right mind, you know, you shouldn't be held to the same standard as somebody who decides, hey, I'm gonna go rob these people, and I'm gonna shoot them in the face, or I'm gonna shoot them in the back running out, or, you know, whatever, you know, if they're trying to get away, you know, leave no witnesses. It wasn't, you know, thing is, it wasn't like that either.
I told her, I said, look, you're sitting here talking to a guy who has a loaded weapon in his hand. Do you really think I'm gonna let you kill me? And she took a beer and she just threw it in my face. When she did, I shot her. She started yelling, what'd you shoot me for? What'd you shoot me for? Well, it was obviously why she got shot. And then right after she was doing these 2 guys got up off the couch, they started running toward me, and I shot them.
Maybe I would feel differently if it was, you know, if I knew that the guy was just, you know, a cold-blooded killer and was out there trying to, you know, kill people and just doing it, maybe that would be different. I don't think he intended to do what he done.
Rogers was headed toward me when I shot him. The bullet went up his arm, through his armpit, and out his back, and it blew out his shoulder blade. And a .30-06 don't play around. He ran out to the yard screaming, call the police, he's killing everybody. Well, I guess I was, you know, seeing that they charged me. I didn't know what they were going to do. As far as I'm concerned, they were after the gun.
Well, according to the television cameraman, an anti-death penalty group filed something at the last minute, late this afternoon. So,
yeah, but they're saying that they just...
I don't know. What'd you find out?
Last appeal was rejected.
Huh?
Ray Hill knows nothing.
Oh, no? So I don't know who filed what and if it's delaying the execution or not, but something's off. This doesn't usually happen.
And I tell you what, I was up in the law library and I asked the officer, I said, sir, you know, did they kill him? And he says, oh, well, he says, I guess he got to stay because, no, they hadn't done it yet. And you know what? I felt good about it. I did. I really felt good because killing him didn't help anything with me, man. You know, it's another life death. You know, I kind of felt sorry for him, man. I really, you know, I wanted to cry for him. You know, I wanted to cry for my mom. You know, now it's all, you know, it's like bringing it all back again. You know.
Oh, she was having sex with this dude in the bedroom and went in there, kicked the door open because the door was locked, and she realized what was going on, I guess, and she hit him in the chest with both of her hands, and she hit him so hard he bounced up off of her onto his feet at the end of the bed, and then she tried to roll off the bed, and as she was rolling to get on the floor, I shot across the bed at him, and of course that's when she got hit in the hand with a slug. I mean, I wasn't aiming at her, and I didn't intentionally kill her. They just, you know, you can't control bullets, what they do.
I worked a lot of scenes in my career. I've worked a lot of homicides, and you know, there's just some that you won't forget. There's probably a handful that I won't ever forget, and these little girls will be one of them. It's extremely upsetting, and I felt that I owed them, because they had no voice any longer, to stay with them until we moved them from the loft. And my shift was over at 11, and I remember calling my supervisor and saying, can I work overtime so that I am with them from the time I arrive till the time we get them to the back door of the medical examiner's office, because I didn't want them to be alone. So I did, and I think I got home at 3 a.m. that night because I just didn't want them to be alone.
But I didn't sleep that night, and for 2 more nights I didn't sleep. Just such a scene that, you know, you don't know what to, you're trying to cope with it some kind of a way, and I don't think even somebody, say, psychiatrist or psychologist could deal with it, you know.
You have to put them in a body bag, and it's just, it was just sad. They were little bitty girls. So it's you know, you don't think it bothers you because you do your job, and I didn't cry at the scene, and I don't think I even cried when I typed, but I cried later when I think about them.
Oh, how did Faith and Liberty die? They said they died of gunshot wounds.
So there's nothing about that you remember?
Not particularly, no.
I think it was the police called us and said that they had found him. But he had gone and picked up a girlfriend right after that, and then went next door to a tattoo parlor and had 2 roses in barbed wire tattooed on his arm for faith and liberty.
Yeah, the night that I was arrested, I had the roses.
Do they have any significance?
Yeah, I love roses.
Probably the easiest thing would have been if he had killed Faith and Liberty and then himself. But that's not my dad. I mean, I don't think a narcissist thinks that way. They're not gonna hurt themselves.
I'm a former trial lawyer, and this work is hard for me in that respect because I see how these lawyers botch these cases and how they don't care and how they just don't know what they're doing. And so I can't guarantee that I would have won it, but obviously his guilt was beyond question. But I think we could have avoided a death penalty on his case. I think we could have gotten a jury to give life because the guy was basically, this is a silly thing to say, but he was harmless. He really was, I mean, his parents had to support him. I mean, he held down menial jobs, security guard, nothing that required any intellectual capacity. So, but that was not brought in front of a jury. It took me aback when I started practicing down there is just the mean-spiritedness of the whole system. I mean, they really want to kill people. It's not a question of doing justice, I mean, the courts, all the way up, all the way through it. It's breathtaking. So I've been doing this 13 years now, and finally, I guess about a year and a half ago, I finally got one person off death row. That would never get me to the pros with a batting average like that,
Yes, I could totally understand how he snapped because I think I would have done the same thing if I was pushed to the levels that he was pushed to. I think I would have done it too.
Yeah, death penalty opponent Ward Larkin of Houston filed an appeal hours before.
Westbrook's cruel punishment.
Oh, but the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals rejected it.
It was rejected.
Oh, my God. Ward Larkin filed an appeal. Hey, Dennis? Ward filed an appeal.
I've forgiven the guy, okay? I have. I'm not going to take that to my grave with me like my family did. I'll tell you what, it tore him up. It ripped them apart. My poor mom, I really don't even talk about it because that's who it really hurt, And it killed her, man. And you know what? She took that to the grave with her. And not only that, she had to see another kid die and another kid die. And I'm just thankful that she's not alive to see me here now.
From my conversation with Westbrook, he is ready to go. He acknowledges that that's going to happen and that he says he's had 18 years to prepare for this. So he says, I think he told me that he was optimistic that they are going to kill him.
Well, I will tell everybody out there that Elvis ain't dead yet.
Boy Westbrook was executed this evening about 2 hours later than he could have been because there was a late appeal filed by a death penalty activist in Houston. The highest Texas court rejected the appeal, said it was improper for it to be filed.
And the thing is, he got a 90-minute reprieve. Could you think of anything more horrible than strapping you down and, oh, well, wait a minute, we're going to hold on this. Maybe they're going to look at your appeal. Maybe you don't deserve the death penalty. And then you sit there for 90 minutes. Oh, sorry, guy. It didn't work out for you. We're going to go ahead and kill you now.
What did I do on the execution day? I went and visit him for the last day. I went up there and I ate with him snacks and food, and we just talked about things that we needed to get out of the way and to make sure everything that was fine, and that I knew that he loved me. And then I drove to Huntsville, and I sat at this church and waited till it was over, and I cried that day, and it was really an emotional day for me.
We walked into the death chamber. Westbrook was strapped down to the gurney. He looked at the folks who were coming in. The warden took a step and looked down at Westbrook, asked him if he had anything to say. Westbrook said he did, and then he apologized profusely for what had happened with the killings. Said he wished he could bring the people back, and also said he wished that things could have turned out differently. And he expressed love to his daughter and to what he said were all of his supporters. And he took 2 deep breaths. There were about 4 snores, and then all movement stopped. We stood there for, nearly 15 minutes until a physician walked in and examined him and pronounced him dead at 8:04 p.m. local time. There was then a sheet pulled up over Westbrook, and we turned and filed out.
Nobody wins, do they? I mean, can you say it's better now? Anything's better? I mean, if you're gonna, promise you, if you wanna punish somebody, make them wake up every morning and know that they're not gonna go anywhere except over there to get them some mushy carrots, you know, some mystery meat. I mean, for the next 14 years of my life, if the courts doesn't do anything, I'm suffering misery. It'd be like dying every day when I wake up. Every day I'm gonna be dying. The first thing I'm gonna do is wake up in the morning. My stomach's gonna turn. Another day.
And the funeral was, oh, God. The funeral was so hard. I mean, as you might imagine, with something so tragic to happen, the worst part was that someone sang the song, Jesus Loves Me, This I Know. You could hardly hear the person singing the song over the sobs from everyone in that church. At the funeral, she basically almost laid down on the coffins, the girls' coffins, and said it's the last thing she did. She'd see that justice was done. And in her mind, the death penalty would be the ultimate justice for what he did. And so I think that's how she'd feel right now.
Yeah, the charge is capital murder, and for my 2 daughters, Faith and Liberty, in 2001.
I was called to testify for the evidentiary hearing. The pictures that were introduced, some were mine and some were from the Dallas Police Departments. What was hard to sit through was how it affected the jury, how it affected the judge, and she did remain impartial, but you know, nobody in that room could remain unaffected.
We didn't see the damage till we went to trial, and they showed the crime scene pictures, and still can see them, you know, 15 years later.
When I was on the stand, I did not look at him often. He was unaffected by it. He did not appear to be really concerned about anything but maybe himself.
You know, I always said if I ever sit and looked at the devil, I was sitting across the table from him, probably 10 feet away, you know, and still remember those eyes and that look and that stare.
The death penalty part is obviously hard for me to deal with because, yes, Mary Jean has always been happy that that was the sentence he got, that was how Ben Liberty would get justice.
The reason that he killed the girls, you know, it was revenge to the mom against his ex-wife, and I think he wanted to take them away and make her suffer as much as he could make her suffer. And of course, a mother would suffer much more from the loss of her children than she would suffer from the loss of her own life. And so he did the most heinous and most unimaginable thing he could do to her and took her children away.
I hate what he did, but that's my dad. And he wasn't a great dad all the time to me, but for the most part, when I was with him, he was a great dad. So it's hard for me to just shut it all off and be like, I don't want anything to do with you.
Yes, when Christy comes to see me, I feel very badly that she had to have all the emotional distress that entailed her losing her sisters, and what that must have been for her at, I think, 15 years old. Yeah, I regret that a great deal. That affected her life the way it did. But I imagine that her stepmother trying to have me killed and have me put in prison falsely would have also detrimentally affected her life, too.
In a very unique situation. And I think for the past 15 years, part of why it was so hard for me was that there was nobody to talk to that had any frame of reference to what I was going through.
Anything I'd like to say, Christy, if I didn't see her again? Well, obviously that I love her very much and that she means the world to me. I wish things had been different.
I am so glad that it happened this way, that Faith and Liberty aren't here to go through the pain that I'm going through.
Mr. Westbrook was executed last night. I spoke with him on the phone yesterday afternoon, and in my mailbox today I have received a letter, which I will open. There's a lot here, guys. This is a letter from Mr. Westbrook with what he calls a final question, where someone has told him that if his name is spelled in capital letters on the indictment, that it's a corporation, and so that maybe the indictment that charged him with the 5 homicides was false, and it might be a last-ditch effort, which you hear a lot. I mean, and you can understand anything that even creates a glimmer of hope, will generate a letter. Oh, this line hurts. I'll be dead by the time you get this. It's a great line of work, boys. Yeah. Great line of work.
Having my dad executed is it's very raw. It's very raw moments in my life that I wish that I never had to endure.
Kelly Haslip was one of the victims. I spoke to his brother, and his brother said, "Oh, I don't think that your dad should, or I don't think Colly Westbrook should have got the death penalty." How does that make you feel?
That makes me feel a lot better. It makes me feel great that one of the victims, thought that my dad shouldn't have gotten the death penalty.
Sonny doesn't understand what's going on. She knows her father was killed. She knows he was executed. And she doesn't understand why they did this to her daddy. She knows what happened. But, she wants to sit around and say, why did it happen, Pat? and you have no answer. I mean, you have lots of answers, but you don't have a good concrete answer for her that she would ever understand.
What do I miss the most about my dad? Getting to touch him, hugging him, because throughout this whole period, I've never got to touch my dad. The only time I got to touch him is at the visitation and the funeral. So that's really hard. Yes, I struggle every single day not having my dad around.
I mean, this has been a miserable 15 years. I've always, now, once it happens, it's done. It's the final chapter of the story. Maybe I can finally move on, not be the girl whose dad is on death row.
Oh, have I thought about my last statement? Yeah, I've run a couple different ones by. I've thought of Soylent Green as people, and then bring an image of Charlton Heston in and say, hang on to your Second Amendment rights, vote for Trump, say something derogatory about my poor ex-wife, tell my daughter I love her. But I'm not having any witnesses there, so I'm not really concerned about it. There's going to be a couple little cocksuckers from the DA's office who I could give a shit about. They enjoy that because they have small penises and smaller egos, so watching somebody else be killed because they're not man enough to do it themselves, what do I care about those little piss ants?
Like when the anniversary of their deaths would come, nothing really ever felt finished. Like I always feel like other people who have a loved one who's died, their anniversary of their death comes around and they grieve for them and they move on. I can grieve for Faith and Liberty, and then my dad's still in prison. So I just feel like now I finally get to wrap it all up. I hope. I mean, I have no idea. All I can do is hope that I don't know if come March 31st, I'll wake up and be like, oh, it's a new day. But I do think that I will definitely feel better once it happens. I think. Maybe not immediately. Maybe it'll take me a little while.
What are my feelings when the warden will come get me and take me to the gurney at the Huntsville execution chamber? So I would imagine there'd be a little bit of anxiety, but other than that, it'd probably be a trip. I mean, how many people get to do that? It'll be odd, but scary, I don't think. I mean, what would be to be scared of? You know what's gonna happen. Except if they call at the last minute and say, no, don't do it. And then you're like, oh, fuck. I gotta do this all over again? Because I've known guys who've done that 4 or 5 times and they just never are the same afterwards.
Miss White, they done.
When I found out he got the stay, and it still is. It's one of those, I can remember that moment as vividly is finding out that Faith and Liberty had died.
Now, the kinds of cases where they have held the person to be incompetent to be executed, there have been very few, first of all. And the person has, for example, had their, quote, last meal in their cell, and they come to get the person to walk what's commonly referred to as the Green Mile to the execution chamber, and the person would say to the guards, "Can you hold my food for me till I get back?" Obviously not understanding where he was about to go. That's the level of incompetency that I've seen. I honestly don't know that there is even anyone ever, anywhere, that's had their 6- and 9-year-old daughter killed while they listened on the phone. You try to move on, you try to have another life, and hanging over your head the whole time is, I have to deal with the murderer of my children still, with that whole upheaval, and then it doesn't happen.
I do feel like the state did rob me of a new beginning. Today being the 15th anniversary, a month ago, I thought I was gonna get to this day and it feel totally different than the past 14 have felt. That I was going to have this sense of closure and kind of all the pain would have died with my dad, almost. And now, today came and I don't know what to feel. Everything I thought I was gonna feel doesn't exist yet, because now I'm just thinking, oh great, when a new date is set, I get to relive this all again.
Thomas, this is Simon. They're from the United Kingdom. Thomas, Simon. All right, I got your time starting. I got you starting at 12:45. I'll give you 10 and a 5 and a wrap.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay, we're good? Yep. Sound, we'll do a sound check.
Oh, yeah, I believe that I did not kill my daughters in the fact that they weren't my biological daughters. They were my legal daughters. I guess this distinction.
So you think the reason why you killed your two daughters was because you were drugged?
I think so. If I did it at all. And that is, again, I mean, I think I didn't, but, you know, obviously they'll convince me and anybody else that I did, but if I'm not aware of it, do I think I'm insane? And I would say, no, I don't think so, but then that would be catch-22. I mean, if I did think I was insane, then I would probably not be insane, right? So I think that's how it works, at least Joseph Heller's version. And I don't get to react with very many people. And you can see why, probably.
Tonight, John Battaglia was executed. When the warden asked if he had a last statement, he said, "No, well, hi, Mary Jean. I'll see y'all later. Go ahead, please." It was at that point that a lethal dose of pentobarbital was administered. Battaglia lost consciousness and was pronounced deceased 22 minutes later.